to win. I'd rather lose. I'm just letting you know.
There's a coaching violation. I guess there's a thumbs up. And Serena's setting him straight. That is not coaching. I don't cheat to win. I'd rather lose.
Yeah, that's a warning. I didn't get coaching. I didn't get coaching. I didn't get coaching. You need to make an announcement that I didn't get coaching. I don't cheat. I didn't get coaching. How can you say that? You owe me an apology. You owe me an apology. I have never cheated in my life. I have a daughter and I stand what's right for her and I've never cheated. And you owe me an apology.
Whoa. So when is it acceptable to go off? Or is there ever a time that's acceptable to go off? That was Serena Williams there, looking to make her 24th Grand Slam, and she did not. Primarily because one could argue that the match was taken from her. Not taking anything away from Osaka. I'll get to her in a minute. You know, folks, it's hard to explain to people who's never experienced it what it's like when you know that there's a double standard or that there's some discrimination or that how people are responding to you is not how normally they respond. For a person who's never experienced that, it's hard for you to grasp that. For those of us who have, and it's been proven that we have, then you've got to give the benefit of the doubt and ask yourself, well, now, if I were her, if I were Rip, would I see it that way? What is the basis? Now, granted, there can be times when you make an accusation that someone is being biased, that they're not being biased. They just don't like you. I guess that somewhat is a bias. Maybe not for any given reason except it's you. But there was something more at stake here. You had two individuals insert themselves into a very personal situation. The umpires are supposed to be apersonal, without personality. They're just a judge. Two things. Number one, when Serena was accused of cheating, let me just tell you, for anyone who's at the top of their game and anyone who has been at the top of her game for as long as Serena, you don't say that. In other words, even as an umpire, you give the benefit of the doubt and say, well, was this coaching? The commentator did go over to the coach and ask whether the coach was coaching, and the coach said, yeah, that's what I do, I coach, but I wasn't coaching her. In other words, it's the idea that the coach is sitting in the stands and Serena's out on the court and Serena's getting instructions from him in the stands. That's the thought. I had no idea about all this, by the way. I don't do a lot of tennis. I enjoy tennis. I just didn't have enough time to play it, but I really wish I could. And I didn't know that the actual coaches could not be there, on the sidelines and giving coach. I didn't until now. So the idea here is that the coach can't be in the stand still giving coaching. The coach said he's doing what coaches do, and he was doing this movement with his hands. Now, question is whether or not that was instructional to Serena. Serena said, he wasn't coaching me. I mean, I don't pay attention to that. Because it's cheating. And that's how Serena took this. When you accuse someone who's at the top of their game of having to be given something, or having to win because you paid off the referee, or you're just having to cheat, that's a serious claim. That's a very serious claim. It's not that it can't happen, I don't doubt. But when you start talking about someone who has made her living beating people on the court and somehow or another suggesting that she needs to have someone to help her win, she needs to have her coach coaching her, Serena, working on her 24th Grand Slam, needs to have this, then you better have some very strong allegations here, Mr. Ump. You really, really do. I want to see the instant replay. If, in fact, the coach was coaching, then there should be some video showing Serena going, okay, what's the play? All right, okay. There should be line sight between Serena and the coach, and when the coach is doing whatever he's doing with his hands, then you need to show me, do the little ear thing and so forth. Football, I don't know how they do it. I mean, how do you give signals in tennis? Go. I mean, you ever go to a tennis match and you see this like ping pong, I mean, I do enjoy it. I remember watching Arthur Ashe, and I really did enjoy it. But when do you go off? Now, I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there's no doubt she was pumped. The umpire knew she was pumped. And for the umpire to arbitrarily do that seems a little odd, strange, unusual, queer. If he did that, then there has to be irrefutable evidence that that's what was happening. I'd like to see the tape. Because of all the things that happened that day, and when you accuse someone of cheating, let me just tell you, you can't do it at the poker table. You get shot. Especially when they weren't cheating. Now, if you're going to accuse someone of cheating, then you've got to produce. You know what I mean? Hey, look, if you're playing dice in the alley and you accuse somebody of cheating, I'm going to tell you now, you're challenging then their dignity, everything they work for, their parents, their children, everything's on the line here. My word is my bond, and you don't do that.
Isn't that why Staggerly shot Billy?
There's no doubt. So he takes a point from her. How does she respond to that? Pissed. I would be. Still, in a position, though, to win the match. Possibly. Well, yeah, she was. It was still pretty close then. However, because this ump is arrogant about it. And ump's really arrogant. They're no more arrogant than those umps in tennis, man. I guess they try to keep a poker face, and it's kind of boring, the job they do. They're just kind of watching back and forth. Watch the bouncing ball. I know it's more than that. But they're sitting out there. They don't have a breastplate, nothing. They're just sitting out there, usually with very curved shoulders, like little mites, and just kind of, okay, I'm being stereotypical, and I shouldn't be. But I guarantee you, Serena could have snatched him off that chair, bro.
I seen McEnroe cuss guys out up on the chair. And, always was.
I'm going to tell you, I don't doubt he was a little intimidated looking at that.
Yeah, I would say so.
Fine-ass Serena coming up. And boy, when she slammed that racket down, I mean, it was like a racket.
Oh, man. That was so...
Well, he knew it was coming next.
Yeah.
That neck started popping in the wrist, no. Was that acceptable? No. Was it understandable? Yeah. It's something I would never do when I was playing football. And that was take my helmet off and throw it down. Why would I damage gear that's protecting me, I thought.
Right.
I used to see guys do that, take their helmet and throw it down. Or take their helmet and throw it at someone. Why you take your headgear on? You keep your pads on. That's your protection, But with a racket, I guess it was like, I don't doubt that's probably a $100,000 racket. There's no doubt in my mind. Not the thing to do. Understandable. Because now, upon him not apologizing, I mean, it would have been very easy for him to say, okay. It would have been very easy for him to say, well, Serena, let's get on with the game. We'll deal with this later. Or something. Apologies, however, I saw what I saw. That would have done it. My apologies to you. But I saw what I saw. I mean, it doesn't take that much to do that. As a man, it just doesn't take that much, folks. I was in a situation that's like, come on, can you just... Does it take that much to just simply apologize for what someone perceived you did? that starts the conversation. At the very least, that acknowledges that you're a human being, I'm a human being, you're an adult, and I'm an adult. And I did not see it the way you saw it. However, if you saw it that way, I beg your pardon. Doesn't take much. Takes, you know, that's that Donald John kind of positioning. Well, I won't say it. I don't have to say anything. I saw what I saw, and that's just all there's to it. I'm no capitulation, no opining, no none of that. I'm Mr. High and Mighty, and when all it takes sometimes is just simply saying, you know what? I'm sorry about that. I really am. However, you know, my decision stands. And you can file a complaint after. Got me? But it's all too often things get blown out of proportion over some of the smallest little crap. The misinterpretation or the interpretation, or simply not considering that someone else has feelings too besides you. So you hurt someone's feelings, you hurt their feelings. You can't tell them, well, why would that hurt you? You know, you can't step on someone's foot and say it doesn't hurt. Oh, get over it, big baby. Oh, come on. You're too sensitive. You're too emotional. But every once in a while, you'll find that you'll do something, and it's a compilation of other things that has been said over and over and over again. People have been taken for granted, or maybe there's some other stuff with this rough. He's just a human being. Probably doesn't like girls with thunder thighs. You know.
Steps bigger than he is.
No, that's true. Thunder thighs. Boy, that's an old one. But I looked at this and my heart just broke for her. Because what she's talking about is dignity. And so then it compiled as what sometimes when you become emotional. And she was. She's emotional. Broke her racket, $100,000 gone. And you can't do that. That's another no. No, she lost a point.
Right.
And then she referred to the judge as a thief.
You didn't attack my character? It's something is wrong. It's wrong. You attacking my character. Yes, you are. You owe me an apology. You will never, ever, ever be on another court of mine as long as you live. You are the liar. When are you going to give me my apology?
All right. Okay.
You owe me an apology.
Yeah.
Say it. Say you're sorry. Well, then don't talk to me. Don't talk to me.
The crowd was on her side.
The blame when it's the person in the player box who was actually accused of something.
Yeah. Serena was watching her coach give her a hand signal. And now,
Wow. Game penalty.
Are you kidding me? As I said, you're a thief. Because you stole a point from me. But I'm not a cheater. But you guys hope to apologize to me. This is how she's getting the referee.
Well,
For the referee.
Well, let me just tell you, sometimes you gotta know when to shut up. That wasn't one of the times, though. In my view, ladies and gentlemen, Serena was well within. She was well within. She was reserved. She wasn't going off. She wasn't cussing.
she ain't throw the racket at him.
No. It was outrageous. It was outrageous. And although it was not good for her game, there was something more important to the game. And you know what that was? Her protest. Sometimes you've got to say it's not worth. No, we're going. I'll lose this game. My dignity is far better than the game. And this umpire should have seen that. And then that combined with the fact that, man, all you have to do is put up some tape on McEnroe and some of these other guys. Trust me. They don't throw the game for her. They didn't throw the game for them, bro. I mean,
I didn't think so.
I'm telling you, some of the things that was said, you know, smashing stuff, cursing. I mean, it was pretty serious.
Calling umpires much worse than thief.
Well, there's no doubt. And I think she does have to make a point. She makes the point that, yeah, was it gender bias? Yes, there's no doubt about that. I don't know if this umpire was around when McEnroe was around, but even some of the other great tennis players, Blake, James Blake, and folks like that, have come forward to say the same thing. Said, well, no, whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, well, we said some things far worse than that. We didn't have a problem. But I think because of the fact it was in fact Serena, and she was pretty forceful and was insisting for an apology, then therein lies the problem. So what do you think here? You think that her protest would fall flat? You think it would be something that's now going to reverberate?
I think it'll reverberate, especially when you consider the year that she's had. This whole season, she's been maligned by this not only the double standard, but extra scrutiny because she is who she is. Coming back after her maternity leave and being dropped down to nearly the bottom of the list, fighting her way back to show and prove that, she's still as good as she ever was, making it all the way to the U.S. Open. But, the criticism, the drug testing, it's just all been, it's all been pretty ridiculous.
Mm. All right. All right. So look, that's one little skirmish. I'm going to get to Cardi B here in a minute. The question is when should you go off? And then is this an umpire problem, or is this a male problem? I don't mind telling you that I do think that there are some men who are not capable of being able to submit and humble themselves in front of a woman who's being forceful. Men, in my view, who are strong men, would have looked at that a bit more empathetic. I would have never once thought that somehow or another I could not say, look, I apologize. I would have apologized right off the bat. I'm sorry about that. But I saw what I saw. And I'm sure you're not a cheater. But can we get on with the game? I made the call. I can't take it back. Because you challenged her dignity. You said that here it is, just professional, just cheated. Just saying.
And just because she was playing with passion doesn't mean she was being aggressive. There's a difference.
Well, she wasn't playing with passion when she was challenging the ump now.
She was speaking with passion.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
She called him a name, but I think one of the calls was aggression. I heard the word aggression somewhere within the call, the flag he called. Aggression was used.
Yeah, well, it was
one of the offenses.
Aggressive speech, maybe.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah.
Well, passionate. That's my opinion.
Well, being passionate and aggressive, same thing, isn't it? I mean, if you're passionate about something, and it's something you want, you're going to be aggressive. I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. She was insulted. I think that merits a certain kind of aggression. I know if you're insulted, then you're going to act like you're insulted. You can't say, oh, I'm insulted. I am so insulted. Some people might do that. When a woman is emotional, she's hysterical. And she's penalized for it. Oh, who was this saying that? This is Billie Jean King. She's the one who successfully fought off that equal stuff. Right, they got a movie about it. When a man does the same, Billie Jean says, he's outspoken.
That's right.
And there are no repercussions. Thank you, Serena, for calling out this double standard. And I don't doubt that she's right. I really don't.
She is.
I'd say so.
I don't doubt she's right at all.
She would know.
The question, though, is that who won the game? You know who won the game? It was Osaka.
Osaka.
And to it, I say, okay, that's a sacrifice. See, this takes you right back to the Kaepernick Nike ad. Just play the last part of that. some things is worth risking it all or losing it all. Your dignity is. It's one of those things. For you, what you do, in other words, and she invoked her child. The idea that she will go down as a cheater, taking instructions from her coach, and having her daughter see that was far greater than anything that could happen at that game. Screw the game. That's what she's thinking. I know. It was like, no, this is all or nothing. No, I'm not going to be your Brunswick witch. I'm not going to be that now. I mean, I don't just have to play this game. Now, either two things going to happen. I can say, okay, look, I can just forfeit because of you, or I can challenge you, and that's what she chose to do. Was it the right thing to do at that time? Technically, probably not. It all cost her. It didn't cost him anything. See, that's the one thing I've had. I've chatted with many individuals who are involved with some kind of racial discrimination and so forth, and all too often on the job they go off and then they become the culprit. They become the villain. You've got this person. I mean, you've got good evidence to show that the person has a pattern of discrimination and so forth against you, but yet you hold it all in, then you go off and you slap someone on the head, and then of course it's an assault. Then you're seen as a villain, and you lose. In this case now, the one who's losing is going to be two entities. Number one, Serena. She lost a game. She lost $17,000 as a fine. She may have lost some fans here and there.
A racket.
But what did the umpire lose? Nothing. But what did the game of tennis lose? They lost a whole lot when it comes down to credibility. But if they gained a lot of publicity that ordinarily they wouldn't get.
Very true.
But I think it was worth it for Serena. She very graciously congratulated Osaka, who, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is a United States citizen and a Japanese citizen. But you don't see that. You don't read that. She's a United States citizen. I very rarely read that her daddy's Haitian. She's Haitian and Japanese.
Hafu.
So she's Haitianese.
Hafu.
The point is this. There's always this kind of, and it's not just a double standard male to female. It is a Caucasian male-dominated game for the most part, and has been up to very recently. And when you start looking at the history of tennis, really, I mean, it's not that women did not play the game; they certainly did. But I mean, they were not taken seriously. About like how the WNBA was/is.
And very few blacks,
Absolutely.
Went from Lacoste to Ash, and from Ash to the Williams system.
Absolutely. And so, there's the perception of the game and the rules thereof is a predominantly Caucasian male-dominated rule book. It's a patriotic kind of situation. Look, I'm not saying I'm calling it what it is. And so what you're going to have is that. You're going to have that kind of perception that women have to stay in their places. And I don't doubt that is the case. You just had this jersey switch thing whereby a female took off switched her jersey inside and out. So there is this shadow of Me Too movement, but also there's still this shadow of how males see it. Some men see it. I need to say that because not all of us see it that way. Not all of us see it that way. There are some men who feel that they are in stark competition. Actually, conservatives are like that. You could always pick up something from a Limbaba, Russian Limbaba, who has a problem with Title VIII or whatever. That if you do this for the woman, if you open the door for her, she'll say that. I never ran into that. I open the door for women all the time, and they thank me. Oh, I don't know. These were the men who could not handle what was it called back then? Women's lib. Oh, then the women's lib movement ruined it all for me because now they can carry a hammer and I can carry a hammer. I mean, those are the weenie of a men who can't handle strong women. They just can't. And that's actually conservatism. That is their basis when it comes down to gender. I just got to know that I wear the pants. I wear the pants. And their ego is only in as much as they have a little bit to hide behind their fly. I do mean that. But anyway. So, look, we're going to chat about it. Then there's Cardi B. So when's a good time to go off? Here she is at a fashionable fashion show.
bizarre bad.
upstate New York there, and decides to challenge Nicki Minaj. Hard curve. Yeah, hold up. I'm going to tell you this. I was here when rap first started. I was in radio. Actually, when hip-hop first started. And then it turned to rap. And let me just tell you, the greatest major destruction I see, and I mean destruction, to what I consider as music in some cases, and music that soothes the savage beast is in fact rap. There, I said it. I see it. It's a contradiction, ladies and gentlemen, to any kind of interaction. You know, going back to the beginning of time, even going back to deepest, darkest Africa. You know, when you see the talking drums, there is an interaction in people that causes people to touch and mix. And you see this in every culture, every civilization. This is about the only genre of quote-unquote music that repulses its partner. The idea is not to interact. The idea is to do your own thing and not enjoy the melodies and soothe the savage beast. Quite the contrary, bro.
It's a very good point. I didn't even think about it like that. Very good point.
Well, I'm going to tell you. Hopefully there will be a sling back. Now, this is not the first time this has happened either, by the way. Hopefully there will be. I don't know if you realize it, but in some cultures, the Maasai, for instance, have gender separation when it comes down to males dancing with males and women dancing with women. And there's a very good reason for that. It's out of respect, almost like Muslims, in that when a man ultimately gets to that point and they dance together, then we're talking marriage here.
Gotcha.
But even with men, there's a holding of the hands. There is a
each other's hands.
Yeah. Or grabbing on the shoulders. The Greeks do it. The Greeks do it. I love watching Jimmy the Greek, not Jimmy the Greek, but Anthony Quinn in his movie Jimmy the Greek, because although that's a traditional dance in and around Naples and Athens and so forth, but it's ceremonial.
Right, goes way back.
Yeah, but I don't see that with rap. But so with that said, to Nicki Minaj. It breaks my heart to see two women do this. Is Nicki Minaj your mother?
No.
No. Especially breaks my heart to see a mother do this with children. All of this, this is not standing up for yourself when you challenge someone out in public for what they said. I could not see Gladys Knight and Aretha Franklin having beef like this, or Patti LaBelle. One of the Bluebells. You just don't do this. It's beneath you as a lady and as a mother to go up and challenge someone. You might send a letter. You might send your guy to talk to their guy subtly and say, look, is there a problem? We okay? But this taking the street to the stage.
Did you even hear about that when with the likes of that bunch you just mentioned? I don't want to call it old school, but the old guard, I guess.
No.
Because they had to have problems.
But it never got
misunderstandings.
Why do you know they had to have problems?
Because life without problems.
Well, what kind of problems between the two of them? Talking about each other's kids, really?
Maybe not beef, but there had to be. Just being realistic. Yeah,
You're not being realistic.
Something.
Everything
was just hunky-dory.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Walking apart.
You choose to believe that, and that is the folly of youth. Instead of simply find out. There's plenty of information to show. Just check the history books to see if Gladys Knight and Aretha Franklin had what you call beef. And by the way, that's a white boy term, end quotes. Didn't even learn that term until I went to integrated school.
You want no beef? You want no beef?
Well, I didn't know what that was. I'm just simply saying. But that's I don't mean to insult you. It's just a lot of this seems to be adopted. But anyway, no, Whitlock. I can tell you right now that the idea of folks fighting on stage or women going through this. Probably the most you ever saw of that was some trash talking from Madonna. You know, about the trashiest little thing, like a Virgin Madonna who, I mean, and then that's when it all went south. But anyway, I just no. But you know, I always challenge you on this because you just feel that everybody should be just like, well, you know, they had to do it. No.
No, I'm just saying
No.
that.
Well,
just
why would
to
you
think
even assume
that?
that?
It was just a walk in the park and there weren't any problems.
Well, it doesn't have to be. They were ladies. They were ladies.
Just say it never existed.
There was such a thing. Yeah, I'm saying never because I can't prove it was. Can you?
No. I know
Okay,
they
then
acting like
they were
were
ladies.
yesterday, but
If they were, well, you know, if Aretha Franklin was being anyway out of the way, I guarantee you would read about it.
we didn't have social media and videos and things.
You think they didn't have books? They weren't writing?
It wasn't quite as exposable as it.
Really?
Come on now, anything that happened live and we can record it and show it.
Are you really that
did not
naive?
exist.
You can't be that naive.
Aretha Franklin and her husband got into it in public, and he put hands on her. That was documented.
That's not women against women.
I'm explaining to her that stuff was documented. I know it's not. I'm just saying.
There's no doubt that
stuff went down, people wrote about it.
What we're talking about here is two women challenging each other out in public. I said Gladys Knight and Aretha Franklin. That's the reality, Whitlock. That's whenever you want to make that suggestion about the so-called old school, at the very least, be able to back it up and not go off of some kind of little naive young whim. Really? Because I'm not defending anybody. I'm just simply saying I was there. Trust me, I was there, so I go, okay, yeah, well, yeah, ooh, yeah, Aretha Franklin slapped the hell out of Gladys Knight. I just...
You wouldn't say that if you were there and she did.
Well, I could tell you no, I wouldn't. I can tell you that in a word, I wouldn't. There were some serious breakups, Diana Ross, and when she left the Supremes. Also, what was the first Supreme that left? Had some words to say.
Mary Wells?
Yeah, Mary Wells, very good. But it was usually like, okay, David Ruffin, but he wasn't a Ruffin when he did it.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
I mean, it just... But the idea that somehow or another it's always been going on, and then you can't prove it always has been going on, Whitlock, please. What I'm saying is that there's been a regression of what is considered as good behavior. How about that? Or good manners. Quick break, we'll be back, folks.
This is the Pepsi that you're